Link to my interview with Charlie Arnold at Outkick is in the description below. Head on over there after you finish watching this video. It's the first time that I have ever agreed to an interview. She made it very, very easy for me. Charlie was very easy to talk to. Everybody there was very easy to work with. So I encourage you guys to check it out. All right. They have devised a somewhat new strategy. Donald Trump's victory in Iowa. Orange Man bad! Donald Trump's victory in Iowa and his upcoming victory in New Hampshire. Well, KC, what if Nikki Haley wins New Hampshire? What if Lizzo loses weight? What if Brian Stelter chooses salad over donuts? What if Chad Thundercock wore shorts instead of his tuck-friendly bathing suit? I don't live in what if. I live in reality. Trump's victory in Iowa, it has caused deacons at Woke United Methodist to shift their strategy. Their first strategy was to humiliate Trump by releasing his mugshot. When that didn't work, they committed to pursuing criminal charges. When that plan inevitably backfired, they pulled the bullhorn out of their boodle, raised it to their mouth, and they kept screaming about January 6th. Oh, that painful, traumatic day! It was an insurrection and an erection at the same time. January 6th, something that happened over 3 years ago. If all you did was pay attention to the mainstream media, you would think January 6th happened yesterday. They have spent more time pretending to investigate January 6th than they have spent in the last, 23 years analyzing 9/11. When January 6th failed to derail Trump's momentum, the shitfuck started comparing him to Adolf. Did you hear that? Trump said the word poison. Adolf used the same terminology. Trump is a dictator! When the Hitler comparisons inevitably failed and only caused normal people to laugh at the media's stupidity, they came up with a brilliant strategy. Instead of focusing on Trump, the media, they started ignoring Trump and gave their support to Nikki Haley. St. Nick has become the new media darling. Now, obviously, this bastion of brilliance backfired. Anything or anyone the media supports, normal people are automatically against it. The media supports the WNBA, normal people pretend it doesn't exist, which isn't hard since most normal people don't realize that the WNBA actually does exist. The media supports late night comedy, normal people haven't watched it in years. After months and months of embarrassing failure, after months of trying to derail the Trumper and getting smashed by the Bruce Caboose, deacons at Woke United Methodist, they have devised a strategy that they feel is foolproof. There's absolutely no way this plan ends in embarrassing failure. This idea is unoriginal. It's been used by the deacons many times in the past. To their credit, most of the time it's been effective. Their most recent utilization of this strategy was about 4 years ago with the COVID. At that time, the birthing person they chose to execute the plan was Aunt Fauci. But this time around, the deacons, they have selected an executor based on their preferred standards of diversity, equity, and inclusion. According to her Twitter bio, she prefers she/her pronouns. She refers to her husband as the second gentleman. She's a comedic orator, often laughing at her own delusions of grandeur with that synonymous cackle. Deacons at Woke United Methodist, they have selected Kamala Harris to execute this strategy. Kamala Harris? Cam? The cackler? I thought they took the microphone away from Cam Harris. Throughout 2023, she was all but invisible. Last time I remember seeing her speak, she was marveling at the technological innovation of the school bus. Isn't it amazing? This one vehicle can transport all those future peasants to the indoctrination centers. Cam Harris has been chosen to execute the latest attempt to derail the momentum of the Trumper. And believe it or not, she wasn't that bad in her first appearance. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, it was still an embarrassment, but because Kamala Harris has been so embarrassing in the past, her appearance this morning with the Yentas on The View, it was considered to be a success. But before we get into that, let's get to the sponsor for today's video, my friends over at Giltech. Right now, my fiance is in the process of redecorating our house, meaning I am spending a hell of a lot of time here in my studio to avoid getting caught in her wrath. My married men out there, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But the other day, though, I make the mistake of walking inside to grab something. I get hit with that question that every man dreads being asked. Honey, can you help me with something? She was putting the new rug on the floor and she didn't have anything to cut the mat that goes up under the rugs. As luck would have it, though, and this is a true story, the day before, I had just received my promotional products from Giltech. Pointed her to the box where we had 12 ready-made blades ready to be used. I mean, she was absolutely thrilled. You just never know when you're going to need a razor blade around the house. These Giltech manufactured blades, they are lightweight. They easily fit in your pocket. They can be operated with one hand easily. I mean, doesn't get more simple than that. They also make blades specifically designed for left-handed people. They come in an assortment of colors, and best of all, they're affordable. Matter of fact, Giltech's plastic series are the most affordable blades on the market, and everything is 100% made in the USA. Giltech is a veteran-owned company, and they vow to keep all of their products made in America. Click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL, BTL. Save 10% off all orders you place with Giltech. All right. Earlier this morning, pretend Vice President Kamala Harris, she collaborated with the Yentas on The View to execute their latest strategy to derail Trump. Now, I'm not going to ruin the surprise for you, but see if you can pick up on the strategy for yourself. Roll the film.
Michelle Obama says she's terrified, as we are, about the potential outcome of the election. Now, are you scared, first of all, what could happen if Trump ever became, God forbid, president again? And what are you going to do to stop the crazies?
I am scared as heck.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm traveling our country. You know, there's an old saying that there are only two ways to run for office, either without an opponent or scared. So on all of those points, yes, we should all be scared.
Yeah.
But as we know, and certainly this is a table of very powerful women, we don't run away from something when we're scared. We fight back against it.
By golly, I'm scared as heck. Who in the hell talks like that? I'm scared as heck? In my life, you know how many times I've said the word heck? 3, and they all came in the last 30 seconds repeating Cam Harris. What the hell are you afraid of? Or, let me put it in terminology our vice president will understand. What the heck are you afraid of? One of the Yentas, I think it was Big Red Joy Behar, she mentioned that Michelle Obama is afraid of the Trumper too. You know, I'm afraid of another Obama presidency. Remember when Michelle Obama was First Lady? Back then, we didn't need explanations of proper pronouns. We could use she, her pronouns safely based on appearance and logic. But Michelle Obama, she wanted to control diet. I want everyone eating healthy. If she gets another 4 years, we'll all be eating cucumbers. Now, of course, that's a shitfuck's dream. They come up with all sorts of creative ways to utilize the cucumber, the squash, the grilled wiener. Me personally, I prefer to keep eating hamburgers and steaks. But as you saw in the clip, Kamala Harris tried to motivate the audience of lonely women by speaking a message of girl power. We're all strong yentas. We must fight the Trumper. You know, I happen to agree with Kamala Harris. If John Biden wants to spend the next 4 years splitting his time between the White House and Delaware, at some point, he is going to have to fight. The problem is, there is no fighting John Biden. Saw something yesterday that outlined John Biden's latest schedule. In the last 4 or so weeks, he has made 4 campaign appearances. 4. He has spent more time on vacation than he has on the campaign trail. In a way, I don't blame Johnny B. Biden for not having the motivation to attend campaign rallies. Have you seen some of these events? They look like a funeral. I'm sure it's a reminder for John Biden of what's waiting on the other side of heaven's door that he keeps knocking on. Now, normally, when I see tactics from Woke United Methodist, I tell you guys that they're full of shit. They're just lying to us. But this time, they're telling you the truth. There is not a doubt in my mind that Democrats fear Donald Trump. Hell, I've been telling you for months that they're afraid of Vivek and Donald Trump. But they're not afraid of Trump personally. They're not afraid of a Trump presidency. They know he has no intention of being a dictator. That's all hyperbole. It's just propaganda. They push that message to get you to fear Donald Trump. The reason they fear Trump, they're afraid to lose power. They're afraid to lose control. Trump is standing in the way of their globalist agenda. I think they're more afraid of Vivek Ramaswamy than they are of Trump. Why? Because he's young. Trump's on the back nine. He and Johnny B. Biden, they're riding the golf cart to 18. Vivek, he hasn't even finished the front nine yet. Vivek Ramaswamy, he can stand in their way for the next 2 or 3 decades. Anytime someone is utilizing fear as an intimidation tactic, it means they can't be convincing based on their record, based on their merit. So they use fear to intimidate you into seeing things their way. If you think about it, the Democrats are experts at using fear. Spring changes to summer. Oh my God, it's climate change! Fossil fuels and farting yentas are destroying the planet! Remember social distancing? Keep your distance, you might get germs. I will give Kamala Harris a little bit of credit here. Her appearance this morning with the Yentas, it was one of the best appearances I have seen from her in the last 4 years. Now, I didn't agree with a damn thing she said, but at least she was presentable. At one point, she was talking about abortion. In a shocking revelation, Cam Harris was making clear, concise points. Watch for yourself.
They're concerned that if their daughter is going to college, will she go to a state where she will have access to the health care she might need, including reproductive health? If she chooses, she will talk with her priest, her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but it should not be the government telling her what to do. We are not asking anyone to abandon their personal beliefs.
Right.
It's just that the government should not, and in this year of our Lord 2024, the government should not be telling women what to do with their bodies.
Whether you agree or disagree with Cam, that message will be very effective to female voters in swing states. Hell, that message might be effective to female voters in every state. But that's their only play. Abortion is their only play because everything else is a disaster. I'll credit Kamala Harris for one more thing. I have watched most of her interview with the Yentas this morning on The View, and most of the clips, she was the only one talking. For the first time in decades, a guest was invited on The View, and the beauties remained silent. The whoopee cushion didn't expel toxic gas. Big Red sat there stationary. She didn't want her bobbling head to distract from the wisdom of our pretend vice president. I have never seen the Yentas that silent. I should call up producers at ABC. Book Kamala Harris every day on The View. If that's all it takes to silence the Yentas, I'm all for it. But give me your thoughts on this. The strategy is clear at this point. They are going to use fear to intimidate people into voting for John Biden. Will that strategy be effective, or will it end in huge embarrassing failure like all their other strategies? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.